So, I was talking about you gotta put yourself away from people that are walking in wickedness. And I just figured I'll read this, 2 Timothy 19. Well, I'll go up. We were talking about study, show thyself approved, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, but shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness, and their word will eat as doth a canker. You know, it's going to eat away at you. Their word and their vain babblings, it's going to increase into more ungodliness, and you're going to get farther away from your calling in God. And he tells you, you know, those people who have concerning the truth of erred, and then, well, these ones, you know, they're talking about the resurrections past already, and they overthrow people's faith. Well, that's what the devil's going to do. Through the mouths of others, he's going to attack you. When Jesus knew he had to go to the cross, and he's talking about it, Peter said, Lord, this shall not be. You know, and in the natural, it looks like it might be speaking, oh, he doesn't want you to die, and that's how the devil plays against this person's mind, you know, and soul. But Jesus turned to Peter and said, you know, get behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense to me, because thou savorest not the things that be of God. Satan, that's how he works. He sends a thought. They don't pick it up. They speak it. And that's it gets in, you know. But Jesus recognized it because he had discernment. And he's like, this is not of God. God's spoken to me. I know what I got to do. And you're trying to say contrary, that this will not happen. You're trying to go against what God's saying and what his plan is. That's the devil. That's Satan. But, you know, Jesus had more discernment than that. I'm sure he could see the devil come up. I mean, I could see the devil come up. So I'm not Jesus, so I'm sure, you know, he could see that. So it goes on to say, nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure, having this seal, the Lord knows them that are his. Let everyone that nameth the name of Christ depart from iniquity. But in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but also of wood and of earth, some to honor and some to dishonor. He's trying to use this, you know, we all have a trash bin or a trash can in our house. There's vessels that are trash cans. They take trash in. You know, they get full of trash. There's a toilet. You poop in it. Takes in disgusting things. Paul's saying that there's good vessels. There's ones that you drink your, you know, grape juice out of, or you drink your soda and it's clean and it's nice, and you like to, you know, you have your nice cups. Some people have crystal, you know, glasses. And there's vessels that are disgusting, like the toilet. Well, he's telling you that the next verse in 2 Timothy 2:21, if a man purge himself of these, he will be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for the master's use, and prepared unto every good work. He's telling you, and it talked about, I went to 2 Corinthians 6, that you got to put yourself away from this evil. You got to guard your heart with all diligence, your eyes, your ears, your entrance to your heart. You got to guard your heart with all diligence. Out of it flows the issues of life. God's not going to be able to speak to you and use you if you're full of trash and your mind's just cluttered up with cares of this life and you know, problems. So, you know, well, let's go to, the only way to do this is to give time, you know, meditate on his word, fill ourselves, give time in the morning before your day starts. You set the tone of your day. That's one of the big keys. At night and in the very first of the morning, if you'll, before you eat, before you do anything, get in his word, fill yourself with his word. The devil's going to try and come at you. First thing you wake up, someone's going to call someone, until you get a mastery of this and start to recognize, you know, he said that strong, what does he talk about? He talks about strong meat, and you've exercised yourself to discern both good and evil, you know, through his word, that you exercise that. And I wrote it down. but I have so much written down that sometimes it's hard to find. But we'll go back and I'll cover, but first we got to hit the basics, you know. It's not complicated. Life isn't complicated. What you put in through your eyes, through your ears, gets into your mind. It'll eventually, through you practicing it, you practice sin, you know, by watching these things on TV of sin, people having sex before marriage. That's why he mentions all this in the fruit of the flesh in Galatians, and the fruit of the Spirit. So you can recognize the flesh and put that away from you. You gotta guide, you know, it takes effort. You gotta, like with a horse with blinders on, you gotta focus. Don't look at the wind and the waves. Don't look at the things contrary to what God's told you, what he says in his word. It's contrary when they're practicing evil and they're, you know, speaking blasphemies, cursing, having sex. That's what all these TV shows. If it's not that, it's, you know, I mean, they're just putting downright evil things. Anger, violence, just different. And that's supposed to set off a warning that I shouldn't be watching this. You're losing some peace. You know, it might feel good to your flesh in the moment, but then you're going to get out of peace. If you're, you know, he says, my sheep hear my voice. If you start walking in him and in his spirit and no peace, it's going to set off red flags, and listen to those red flags. So let's just say practically, what should we have our mind on? You know, and I've read the first part of Psalms 34 the other day when he's talking about, you know, this poor man cried unto the Lord, and he heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps round about them that fear him and delivers them. O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in him. O fear the Lord, ye his saints, for there is no want to them that fear him. The young lions do lack and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall not want any good thing. These are the promises. If you're in him, if you abide in me and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you will, and it will be done unto you. That's what Jesus said. Jesus said, I'm the vine. You are the branches. You know, you can't do anything without him. So, come ye children, hearken unto me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. What man is he that desires life and loves many days, that he may see good? He's trying to tell you, if you want life, you want many days, and you want to see good in your life. You want to see the good. So if you stand through, the devil's going to come, he's going to try and preempt this. You get in the word, you start focusing, he's going to come against that. Because he wants to cause some persecution so that you'll fall away because you don't have the word rooted in your heart. But if you hold on, you know, let patience have its perfect work. Just keep hearing. Don't make no pressure. Feed. To fight, like I told you, to fight is lakem. It means also to feed, like bread. You know, when Caleb and Joshua, when they spied out the lands, they seen the giants in the land, and Caleb said, let us go up at once. They're bread for us. He's saying this is going to feed us. This is going to strengthen us. These giants, then this fight, it'll strengthen us. We're going to be, just like you work a muscle out, you got to put it under pressure. You got to push, strenuous. It's going to exercise your faith so that you'll be able to, you'll be stronger. It's bread for you. It's going to strengthen you. But he's telling you that if you want to see good, keep your tongue from evil. You know, like I've talked about the authority of your mouth in past ones. You know, he says, I set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Choose life that you and your seed may live. He says, why can't I remember it? But he's basically saying, oh yeah, the power of life and death is in the tongue. Them that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. I say it all the time, but there's so many verses when you're trying to, you know. So he's telling you, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking guile. This is like the second witness. The other one's in Proverbs. But he's trying to tell you, your mouth opens doors. It puts out authority in the world. I talked about this in previous ones. And he says, the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. And the face of the Lord is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. If you're in Jesus, you're righteous. You're righteous by faith. And if you're not in Jesus yet, keep hearing his word. It'll build faith. Faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word of God. We got to get the faith. And if you know, in the natural, if you know how to make money, you're going somewhere. You know how to make it. All it takes is some time, and you'll make some, and you'll be able to go somewhere in your life. Well, likewise, in the Word, you want faith. Everyone talks about like praying for faith. They're not scriptural. You don't get faith by praying for it. You gotta hear. It says faith comes by hearing. It says giving to every man a measure of faith. But you gotta feed it. You gotta exercise it. You put your faith out. And I'll teach more on faith. But he says he'll deliver you. The righteous cry out, and he hears them. He'll deliver them out of all their troubles. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and he saves such as be of a contrite spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. There's going to be things that come. I've been talking about this in this series. There's going to be things coming against you. It's going to look rough in the natural. But don't look in the natural. You got to see it, the world, through the lens of grace, faith, God's mercy. He's promised that he's going to deliver you out of all of them. Right here, in Psalms 34:19. Many of the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. He keeps all his bones. Not one of them is broken. Jesus talked about, to a lot of people when they get healed, he says, your faith has made you whole. According to your faith, be it done unto you. So you got to get these promises and hold on to them, or they're not going to happen. You got to put your faith in it. You got to put your, the just shall live by faith. This is the victory that overcomes the world, even our faith. You fight the good fight of faith. You're not even in the battle. You're not even serving God if you're not living by faith. You're not walking as a Christian. You're walking in the flesh, not in the spirit. This is practically how it works. So he talks about evil shall slay the wicked, and they that hate the righteous shall be desolate. But the Lord redeems the soul of his servants. None of them that trust in him shall be desolate. So if you're trusting in him, he promises you're not going to be desolate. Desolate is barren. No provision. In a desert, basically. That's what we call it, desolate ground. There's nothing there. He says you're not going to be that. You're going to be provided for. You're going to be a tree planted by the rivers of water, in its season bearing much fruit. Your leaf shall not wither. In the day of drought, you won't feel it, because you're planted in him, in the garden of our God. So, we all love this one, so I'm going to go to it just because I like it. Well, I might as well read it. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. To be in the secret place, he says you abide under the shadow. You know how hard it is to stay in someone's shadow. Let's see if I can even make a shadow. Oh, I think it's coming the other way. But if the sun's here and I'm standing, that sun hits me and there's a shadow right next to me. Try, when you're walking next to someone, to stay in their shadow. You got to mirror them. He talks about, take my yoke upon you. Learn of me. When he's talking about that, he's got the picture of a yoke, like you're an oxen, and you are yoked to Jesus. When, say you're the young and you're not experienced, you notice, that's how you learn, is you're yoked to Jesus by his Spirit. That's what he's talking about. Take your yoke upon, and you're going to be, when he moves, so say you're a young oxen and there's an older oxen, and the older one knows when it's time to drink, when it's time to feed, when it's time to move. You follow those promptings, and that yoke, it's a picture. When that young one, if that older one goes to drink and that young one doesn't want to, there's going to be resistance. It's going to hurt your neck because you're yoked together. He's going down and you're trying to fight it. That's what I'm saying about peace and knowing his Spirit's promptings. Is it coming against you? Is there pressure? Is You know, and there's going to be different, and you got to learn his voice to discern, because the devil will put pressure too, but it's different. And it just takes time and walking with the Lord, but you learn in the promptings and the peace, and let peace be your guide, you know, is the principle, first principle to learn. And when he's prompting you to do something, walk with him. And that's what he told Paul. When he came to Paul, and he said, it's hard to kick against the pricks. He's saying, I have a plan for you, and you're fighting me. You know, he's saying, I'm Jesus whom thou persecutest. When he asked, you know, when he came to Paul on the road of Damascus. So he's talking about the pricks, kicking against the pricks. What you did in the old days is you have a little poker to prod your animal, kind of poke him and lead him, you know. And he's saying, you're kicking against it. I'm trying to lead you, and you're fighting. You know, you're trying to kick it, but you're just going to hurt yourself. I mean, you got a spear here, and you kick it. Everyone stepped on a sticker bush or a nail, or, you know, thorns. It hurts. So you're getting this pain because you're fighting. You're trying to do it in your strength. You're in the flesh. So we need to get in him, get in his word, abide in the secret place. All right, well, I'll finish what I'm reading. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge, my fortress, my God. In him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers. Under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day, nor for the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 10,000 at thy right hand, but it will not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. Saying you're in him, you're moving with him, you're keeping in his shadow, you're yoked with Jesus by his Holy Spirit, and you're keeping your mind under. That's part of this promise in Psalms 91. You're dwelling in the secret place. You're abiding in his shadow. You're following. You know, he says, you know, my sheep hear my voice, a stranger will they not follow. You know, if he's your shepherd, you hear his voice, you know, and you will get the Holy Spirit prompt. And if you're not there yet, keep reading, fill yourself so your spirit can come alive. But he's trying to tell you that he's going to protect you. You're going to be under the cover of his wings, which Jesus said to the Israelites, how I've wanted to cover you like a mother hen covers her chicks, but you were not willing. They're in their flesh. They wouldn't submit their want to go do it themselves. The law, we're going to do it in our flesh by the strength of our back and the sweat of our brow. That was part of the curse. We're delivered from the curse of the law. You know, Jesus became a curse for you to redeem you from the curse of the law. So he's telling you not to be afraid. Don't be afraid of the sicknesses in the world. Don't be afraid of the fighting, the wars, you know, the arrow that flies by day, the missiles. Don't be afraid of nukes. You know, it's not going to come near you. If you're in him, if you're walking where he's guiding you, he's going to lead you out of that. But you got to be sensitive to his Holy Spirit. And it takes time, but just keep walking. Keep communing with him. You can't trust someone unless you build a relationship. So this is the same way with God. We got to get to know him. That his word is, he is his word. Jesus is the word made flesh. That's one of the first revelations I had to get. He is his word. So to know him, when he says, depart from me, you doers of iniquity, I never knew you. He's talking about you don't know his word. You know, if you know him, you know his word, you know his nature. And I'm going to do another teaching on his nature here later. But God just has been moving on me and my spirit to teach you the basic. Like, this is how the world works. It's focus. That's all it is. He doesn't make it hard because there's people that aren't as intellectually sound. You know, I don't want to say, but there's morons. There's people that are deaf and dumb and blind. When he says, like, well, you know, he did that picture in the Gospels. And I talked about that. But there's people that are dumb spiritually. So he makes it simple. What are you listening to? What are you looking at? You know, it's getting in to your soul. It's going to get into your heart. It's going to manifest. You're going to feel no ease, at diseasement. And then he says you'll prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. You'll get sick because you're diseased. You're not at ease. It gets into your soul. It causes turmoil. You're worrying. Then sickness comes. Your immune system goes down. But he's telling you in Psalms 91 that this is happening around you, but it will not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you see the reward of the wicked, because you have made the Lord your habitation. He says, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. He will give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest you dash your foot upon a stone. The angels are before you. They're making your path. They're surrounding you and round about, delivering you from this trouble. He says you'll tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon. You'll trample underfoot. He's talking about the devil. You know, he's talking about the devil's trying to come against you, but you're going to trample him. Just keep going, soldier. You're going to keep marching. You're going to march right over him. You're going to keep going. You're going to make it. You know, don't be afraid. Walk in him. Keep your focus. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on Jesus, and you're going to make it. He says, because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. And with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. He's going to give you long life. He's going to deliver you. You know, it says, because he has set his love upon me, he's talking about your love. But we love him because he first loved us. You've seen the good in your life that God's done. You've seen how when bad things, look back. Did you make it through it? You're still here. You're here listening to me. You've made it. God's provided a way. Even when you're in sin, he's done that. Because of his mercy. It says it is of the Lord's mercy that we're not consumed. His mercies are new every morning. You know. He's merciful. God is of tender mercy. That's his nature. He's long-suffering. And I'll go over and I'll read other things to show you that mercy in the Bible. I mean, it's all over, but I've got some good ones that are pretty good. But he cares about you. You're his child. If you're in him and you're born again, you're his child. Which one of you wouldn't look out for your child? If something's coming against your child, you've already protected them. You bring your child with you. You don't let them down by the lake where there's an alligator in there. You guide them. You kind of go prompt, hey, don't go that way. The same with your father. He's guiding you. He's telling you all the time through his word, but you know in your conscience, you know in your spirit. And it takes us to get born again so that we really have an intimate relationship. But even when we're still aren't filled with the Spirit, we still know right and wrong. He's trying to prompt you then, but it takes getting to know the Spirit and his real nature. But you have to start at square one. Start hearing. Start filling yourself with the truth. You know, he says that the truth, you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. There is a devil. We were all under his power. He blinded our minds so that we wouldn't believe and see the light of the gospel. But if you hear it, it'll fill you. It'll renew you. It'll make you into a new creature. It'll make you alive, but you got to get it in.